Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner with us today. Something unique about my guest is that she speaks German. Maybe she will share some of that with us today. In her downtime, she loves to salsa dance, and she is most proud of not only starting a business that is successful and growing, but also doing it during COVID while also raising her young children. It is my pleasure to welcome Rachel to the show today. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, Tim. Thank you so much.
Hey, well, let's start with having you introduce yourself. So, tell us your full name and a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born, where you live, and about your family.
Yes, Rachel Priddy. I was born in Indianapolis and I did a short stint living in Germany. Other than that, I've been in Indiana my whole life. So I'm still on the north side of Indianapolis, which is where my business is based.
And German. So, say something to me in German.
Also, ich habe Deutsch als Nebenfach an der Uni gemacht und einen Sommer in Bremen verbracht. So
Should I be
I
offended?
might say that again.
I
Should
said,
you be
should I be
offended?
offended?
I love all those things, those reels that show people speaking German and they sound really angry. No, I studied German in college. I minored, and I spent a summer living in Bremen. Is what I said. So
Wonderful. Well, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share?
they definitely will speak to. They see me as an extremely strong-willed, determined child. So my mom would let she definitely talks about me getting out of bed 17 times in one night and telling my parents it's worth it and I'm going to do it again. So, yeah, I definitely have the reputation. I'm the second born, so maybe it
Mm.
comes with the territory, but I definitely have that reputation.
And what were you getting out of bed for?
You know, I wanted there was one night, I think it was just excuse after excuse,
Yeah.
but yeah, all night. Then I wanted a Band-Aid. And so then finally, finally the next morning I got up and went and woke up my mom and said, "Can I have that Band-Aid now?" So
Nice.
I don't think it really mattered what it was. I just didn't want to go to bed.
I love it. Well, tell us, Rachel, how did the business come about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
I love that question. I started my business in December of 2018. I had a 2-year-old toddler and a 2-month-old that I was breastfeeding and was sitting in bed trying to wrap my head around how I was going to go back to my technical sales job. I was traveling 40% of the time and be there, be the kind of mom that I wanted to be with my daughters. And so I decided I needed to be self-employed and I wanted to work for myself. It's funny because at the time I didn't it seemed like a new idea to me at the time, but then looking back, 10 years before that, I had sent some emails to entrepreneurs telling
Mm.
them that I was interested in entrepreneurship and could I take them to lunch and chat with them. And I definitely I considered an entrepreneurship certification when I was in college. So I think the idea had been percolating,
Mm.
but it really was born out of my stage of life to take
Yeah.
action and take the plunge.
Yeah.
And so, but as far as when I had the confidence that I could do it, I think that first, I think it was, I would say more than 12 months that it took me to really there were a lot of people in my life that thought it was really foolish and I didn't feel supported by them. And so um, realizing that I was thinking about things differently than a lot of people do, and that I needed to find people who were in my court who were going to cheer for me, and not just maybe look at it as like I shouldn't be doing. So I think it really I feel like it's only been in the last, I, yeah, I think I started adopting that I needed to choose whose voices I was going to listen to.
Mm,
I think that took
yeah,
me a year.
yeah.
As far as believing the confidence for myself that I could do this, I think maybe that only happened at year 5.
Mm.
It
Well,
took a while.
in the intro that I had for you, I mentioned that you started it just right before COVID as well. So that's definitely a significant challenge and learning curve in and of itself, right?
Yeah, I kind of consider the two. I started working on everything, and I sold my first cup of coffee in May of 2019. But my really it was just a means to an end of opening my coffee shop. That certificate of occupancy, my final permit I needed to open my doors, didn't come in until literally the same day that the governor announced the stay home order for the state of Indiana. So yes, I did start the business on paper, that year prior, but it was right, literally that day, trying to open my doors as everything shut down.
Crazy. It's been that was certainly a crazy, wonderful, mixed up world during COVID. So congratulations on getting through that. So tell us a little bit more about the company. What's the name? What do you do? How do you help people?
Yes, the name is Rose and Lois. It is named after my daughters. It's their middle names. But Hannah Rose was also my grandmother, and I was really close with her. So it's a little bit of a tribute to her as well. Um, like I said, really was very single-mindedly setting out to open a coffee shop. And in the process, I started selling coffee in a mobile setting. I built a espresso cart and then transitioned into a trailer. And so the very recent trajectory of my business has pivoted to I sold the brick and mortar storefront at the end of last year, and I've been continuing to grow a fleet of mobile espresso bars. So I feel like there's not a lot of people doing espresso in a mobile setting.
Mm.
I think there's some logistical challenges that come with it. But I really wanted to market to the like Starbucks adjacent. I didn't set out to become the most knowledgeable, to have a 30-minute conversation with customers about a single origin coffee and tasting notes. Although I've offered some tasting
Mhm.
experiences that have been fun to grow my own coffee knowledge and create an experience for people to enjoy. But that wasn't really what I set out to do so much as I did care about people, and I enjoy being really relational, and so I wanted a place for other parents really
Mm.
to be able to bring their kids and have a place to either have a conversation with a friend or work on their side hustle. If they're working remotely, get some emails sent out. And so now I still see we've had that work play espresso tagline since we started because it was a place for other entrepreneurs to come and work. We had a workspace in the coffee shop, and then we had a children's play area. And so now I'm getting to go to people's offices. We do a lot of corporate events. We go to a lot of schools. And so we say we're bringing coffee to where you work, where you play, sporting events, all of those kinds of things. And so, yeah, now we're fully mobile. And I think it really is an extension of just how the company was born and what we set out to do, and now we're doing it and bringing the coffee to our customers.
I love it. What a great evolution and I love the story and the passion behind, why you do what you do. So um, we know that successful businesses get stuck at various stages of their growth journey. So tell us about your biggest challenge throughout the years and maybe somebody who came along and helped you through that.
Yeah, I enjoyed reflecting on this. There's definitely three people that really stand out. Um, I'd like to tell you about them. My friend Bridget was a mentor really early in my business, and there were so many days that I really did think that I needed to throw in the towel. That it was really unwise to keep pressing forward. And I think that she really helped encourage me to just, like, we're going to figure this out. We'll figure it out together. And there were things that I didn't feel successful at the time at all by any means. But I would share things with her and she'd be like, "You're the poster child for success for starting a coffee shop during COVID." And I always think of her as telling me that, and her saying, like, "You'll be so glad that you started, if you just keep going, you will be so glad that you did." And I feel that so deeply now. And so she was one, and then my other friend Heather, she also is a business owner, and she, I think, was. I remember her sitting down with me and dreaming about what my business could look like, and I mean, she's supported me in so many ways, and she has a marketing company and does content creation and amazing photography. And so she supported me in those areas, but also just helping. I think she's so busy, business savvy, and helping train my brain to think differently and think outside the box and think creatively. Um, she was really the one who inspired that. I was schlepping around 600 pounds of equipment and killing myself when I was operating out of the espresso cart. And she was like, "You need to contain this and take it on the road and have a food truck,
Mm,
essentially." And so, I mean, that is now my core business.
yeah.
And so she was also instrumental. And then Tim, you've been with me for my journey as well, and I'm so grateful for the referrals and the resources you've exposed me to, and I've really benefited from hiring some professionals that you had connected me with that completely not only changed the trajectory of my business, but I mean really were completely life changing for me and the stage I'm at now. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for saying that. I
Yeah.
didn't expect that. Thank you.
I really mean that. I mean, I know I shared a little bit with you last time we chatted, but yeah, no, it's so significant. So
Well, thank you.
I just finished some house renovations and all kinds of things that have been possible because of this journey, and so thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Congratulations. So, the path of building a successful business has a lot to do with mindset, and you mentioned it earlier in terms of a couple of the folks that you called out as helping you with that. So, what's been your biggest learning as a business owner?
Yeah, and I shared with you I am in the middle of your book too, and I just recently was reading that part on the mindset, and yeah, I mean that has changed everything. I at one point really early in my business picked up a book about dreams
Mm,
and thinking about it as a muscle to develop, and I really believe that has changed my life in so many ways, how I parent and really all angles. But and then I've been reading also the oh shoot, I think it's called the Infinite Game. Is that what
okay.
it is?
Sure.
Is
Yeah.
it Simon Sinek maybe? Um, and so just thinking of business as, yeah, there's really no set players. There's really no set rules. And I am really creating this from scratch and figuring out what I need it to be.
Yeah.
And so I think that has been a huge part of trying to grow a mindset where I really enjoy being nimble of the size of business that we still are. And I have had to pivot so many times with COVID. And I think I'm trying to be aware of continuing to take that with me, even if we're not in a pandemic. I have pivoted my business several times, and I'm sure that will continue to
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah.
And so I think of too with your coaching, a lot of times it's like we're zooming out and taking the 30,000 foot view, and then we're diving back in, and then we're zooming back out. And I feel like I've had to continually do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you're so right. Like it doesn't, it never stays the same, right? Like there's
Hmm.
always the new thing or the new competitor or the new product or the new consumer desires and tastes and yeah, if we don't continue to evolve and adapt, then we're going to get left behind. So it's so cool that you've been able to be so quick to change and adapt and and take advantage of the opportunities that you've had in front of you. So
Yeah.
what would you say in terms of advice? What's one piece of advice or guidance that you would give business owners who are feeling stuck or discouraged in their business?
It's not that I have just a wealth of advice, but I feel like there are so many little nuggets that I've had to learn, and it is hard to choose one because I think
You can share
there's
more than one. What do you got?
you you touch on it in your book, but I really also um, that first 18 months starting out, it was like, yes, I really was so dedicated to doing something every single day to work on my business. That was really that was really helpful. I Yeah, and I think back to the mindset thing, I think that something else that Bridget would tell me, it's like, yeah, I was able to buy into like I am improving, and if I keep working at this long enough, I know I'm a hard worker. I can do hard work, and I know that I won't stay the same. I will continue to improve, and if I just work at it long enough, I will eventually get there.
Yes, yes.
I think there's so much truth to that, and it's just like if I just I think Bridget really helped me, not maybe, like, feel shame or judge myself, and so I think there were, like, so many naysayers in my life and that it seemed like, "Oh, this is so foolish, this is so unwise, it's
Yes,
wrong of
yes,
you to do
yes.
this." I was feeling that so deeply, and so for someone to just give me permission of, like, okay. So, I mean, it was like, yeah, like, it's kind of that whole, like, let's take failure off the table or, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, money is just money. And so, but it's like, yeah, yeah, if I just keep working at this long enough, I will get there. And I do feel like that is what happened. And it just took the time, but I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful that I get to enjoy the rest of my life with the knowledge that I have gained, and that it's helped me become a better person, a better parent, more organized, more I really value my time. I mean, there's just so many life skills that being a business owner has forced me to develop for myself. And not only do I get to reap the benefits in my business, but just in my life, I enjoy the skills that I've had to develop. So,
you've mentioned it a couple of times, but the people that we surround ourselves with, well, part of the reason or challenge why that happens is most people have been programmed to have an employee mindset.
mm,
It's hard for a lot of folks to understand business owners' desire, right, to take that risk and go out on their own. So it's not necessarily intentional, but they just don't understand, right? And so they think that they're being helpful by warning us, right, and cautioning us and saying, hey, maybe that's not a good idea because of their own right fears and doubts and insecurities, but it's because this basically the school system teaches us how to be employees, right? The whole world is built around people being employees and going to work for whatever 40 or 50 hours a week and other people making all the money off of them, right?
yeah,
So yes.
yeah, that's something that whether it's just insecurity or humility on my part, I do really try to listen to the people around me, and that was a huge learning curve of figuring out who I needed to listen to and who I really needed to kind of weigh what they were saying. So,
Yeah, and you've mentioned mindset a few times, but what a lot of folks don't understand is that what we think, feel, and believe is 90% or more of whether we're going to be successful, right? So
Mm,
I love your story that your friend, spoke into you and said, "Hey, you've got this. You will be able to do it." There's a cartoon that I continue to remind myself of, and basically the cartoon is this guy digging underground, looking for diamonds, and the one side, he's one stroke away from finding the diamonds, and
mm,
he turned around and walked away. And right, and that's kind of
that's a good
the
one.
business owner journey, right? Like we're just one stroke away from it all figuring itself out and having that next level of success. And if we give up on ourselves, then we miss the opportunity to realize, the dreams that we've set for ourselves.
Yeah, I love that you're doing this podcast. I think I remember an article I read early on in Entrepreneur magazine about somebody who was really successful but didn't take care of himself, and he was diabetic and had to have limbs amputated and just was nearing the end of his life, and his health was so poor. And so I think it's like a balance of not moving the goalpost on myself constantly, and so like having to celebrate, needing to celebrate the successes along the
Yes.
way, but
Yes.
then also, yeah, like you're saying, just yeah, continuing to chip away at it and finding like-minded people to you know, just even listening to Guy Raz's podcast on, how I built this, and
Yeah.
just anywhere I could, consuming other entrepreneurs' stories. And otherwise, it's not only terribly lonely, but I wouldn't have made it. I would, I would have stopped.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's the thing that nobody really talks about, but it's incredibly lonely at the top, right? And we look around and, at least what I've heard from all the folks I've worked with is they look around and assume that everyone else has got it together and they're the only one struggling or feeling insecure or not knowing how to do something. And that makes the isolation and the loneliness even more, which is why we create communities so that people can hear that, oh no, everybody is in the same boat. Some people are just, a step or two or a stage or two ahead of the others, but we all go through the challenges and the doubts and the fears, and then we talk ourselves out of giving up and get back into the game and find the next success and the next success and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So Rachel, as you think about the next year, where is an area that you're currently stuck or you need to sort out to achieve your long-term goals?
Yeah, you and I chatted about my employees and some of the ways that I have really doubted myself, and have taken employee advice when it wasn't the best thing for the business. And I have been in a learning curve just recently, pivoting the business from being the coffee shop and the mobile espresso bars to now just being the mobile bars. That it has been my same employee base, um and so, but I'm not, I don't have as many hours,
Mm.
versus having a brick and mortar open 60 hours a week or whatever it was. And so I think that I am just very recently coming to the conclusion that there is going to be turnover, like maybe wholly my entire staff will turnover, and that is also a good thing, that I can hire and train for the business I have, not that I used to have. And
Mm.
so it always creates anxiety for me when I need to hire. It's that's probably common, but it's definitely yeah, I'm a service-based business and I need
Yes.
employees to
Yes,
do it.
yes, yes.
So
And
that
yes,
always feels uncomfortable.
yeah. And
That's
and
something
you're
that,
right, it's very common, right? Having great employees that can do the job as well as the owner, it is one of the number one things that we hear from folks as a struggle. And it always will be to some degree, but the key is having a great culture that people are attracted to. And when people opt in to wanting to be part of something, right? Because we all want to be part of something that's bigger than ourselves, right? We all
Mhm.
want to feel like we belong and that we're making a difference. So when the culture's clear and the vision and the mission of the company is clear, then we attract people that get excited about that. And now we have people who feel like they belong and they want to be part of it. And it becomes now more than a job, right? It becomes more of a mission, right, or a
Mm.
purpose for people, and that's the key is, and what I just said, I'm not saying that that is necessarily easy. It does take some time, but that's the better way to do it because now, right, it's not transactional anymore. We found our people. We found the folks who believe in what we believe and want to be part of what we're doing, and now, right, it works and it fits, and people naturally, find their groove in the businesses that they're part of.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's exciting, right? To it's the next step, it's the next evolution, and I would imagine that, the mobile business is very different than the brick and mortar. So there is going to be changes and adaptations to, right, to make that work as well as the brick and mortar did.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's maybe caught me off guard a little bit that even though I've been doing the mobile espresso bars since I started, having a business that is wholly that, I knew I was betting on my brand awareness and that yes, I'd had this flagship store, but could this mobile business thrive without the flagship store? And I did believe in that, and I believed in the model, and it had been somewhat tested in that it existed before opening the coffee shop, but but it's now a more mature business,
Yeah.
and I have more resources. It's a really positive thing, but there's more decisions to be made, and I have more options, I think, than what I banked on. Of like, I'm not just selling off part of this and then continuing what I was doing, but because I sold off part of this, I actually have a lot more options of how I
Yeah.
really want to take this off because
Yeah.
I'm giving my full capacity to this in a way that it never was before.
Yes.
And I think I'm finding that there's it's not just rinse and repeat. There's actually a lot more
Yeah.
that I have that I feel like I'm on the brink of that is exciting. So
It's it sounds very exciting. It's like you're recreating your business model, right? And that
totally.
that does bring, some challenges and some questions, but also kind of the sky's the limit idea. So yeah, super exciting.
Thank you.
Last question, Rachel. Jim Rohn, exceptional business guru, once said that we become the average of the five people that we spend the most
Mm.
time with. And you sort of have been alluding to that throughout this conversation. So, as you think about that quote, what advice do you have for business owners who are feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, but trying to do it all on their own?
Mm. The thing that first came to mind when you said that was I read something one time that said, like, never feel guilty for reading, time spent reading. And then also, I feel like I've extrapolated that to never feel guilty about a conversation with
Mm,
someone that inspires you or, is ahead of where you're at or, yeah. So I think like trying to find people who are ahead of where I am, and surround myself with those people. Yeah, definitely. There are so many people that I look up to, and really, my it's interesting because it wasn't intentional, but I think just by finding like-minded people, my really, really, really close friends, they're all business owners, and
mm,
so yeah, I do love that quote about the five people you spend the most time with. So yeah, as far as feeling the overwhelm, yeah, I think there's days where I wouldn't have been able to go on without. I have called a friend and said I today I don't think I can keep going, and really, I think if I had to say like the one thing that has it, I mean, it has been those people.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and again, you mentioned it earlier, but if the five people aren't encouraging and motivating and uplifting and inspiring, right, it may mean, like you shared, right, we might have to change the five people so that, right,
Yeah.
we've got the right people in our corner and the right people to help us. Because again, you've mentioned it a couple of times. Everybody I've talked to mentions it. I've experienced it myself. Like the business owner journey is a bit of a roller coaster, right?
Mhm.
There's ups and downs certainly, and when those downs come, it can be hard to go through it on our own.
Yeah, Heather and I often encourage each other that uh, it goes both directions. But when things are really, really, really bad, I think the scale of having a business means that things can change really quickly.
Yeah.
And so, yes, with the high risk, I have enjoyed the higher reward, and I think that yeah, I'm in a season right now where I didn't think that I would be where I am this quickly, and it's been so fun to just enjoy that and think like even 6 months ago my business looked really different than it looks right now. And so yeah, I think things can go they can go wrong quickly, and there's no guarantees, but they also can turn around quickly, and so yeah, that's a lot of times what we encourage each other with.
Yes. Yeah. You mentioned it. I'll say it again, the high risk, high reward, right? Like, yes, running a business is a lot harder than being an employee. And right, there's a lot more rewards and benefits of running a business, right? We don't have to answer to
Yeah.
people. We can have vacations when we want to take vacations and so on and so forth. So
Yes.
and that's the part that employees don't understand. So I love that you keep saying it throughout this interview of, find the right people, surround yourself with the right people that are going to encourage and motivate and get it so that they have an understanding and an appreciation as well.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yes.
any before we wrap up here, any final words of advice or tips or thoughts for business owners who are listening today?
Yeah, I think I go back to trying to think of my business as a sandbox that I get to play in, and I feel I do feel like it's a cycle of just constantly going back, creating the Venn diagrams of what do I enjoy doing, what am I good at doing,
Yes.
and and sometimes going back to those things because yes, I think definitely that roller coaster, the days come where it's just very discouraging and you just get in a rut, you get stuck. And so like I think that's the glory of entrepreneurship is that it doesn't ever have to stay the same, and it shouldn't stay the same, and it won't. And so just continuing to go back to the drawing board during those times. So
Rachel, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people in your life. If they were all here on the show today, what would you want to say to them?
Thank you so much. You have absolutely changed my life in ways that I wasn't even dreaming about, and I am eternally grateful.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Tim. It was really great chatting with you.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.